e te fie whanomo, le o e piano pele, vai o rini moto oi mai haate. Kita si ukulele, furuta moe mahi same, kalane tie hula ameriane. Whanomo, le o e piano pele, vai o rini e moto oi mai hape. Kita si ukulele, furuta moe mahi same, kalane tie hula ameriane. E whanomo, le o e piano pele, mai o rini e moto oi mai hape. Kita si ukulele, furuta moe mahi same, kalane tie hula ameriane. Vai soa Besaione, ele uomona, ele tupulaki, kailoma asiete holi. Sila tova ana, ane hano e kakala pala, taisi e lua e loto kolapa. Kono kai mari e ia, loto pe moe atamai, no me kina asironi o mamani. Sila tofa ama, ane hamo e kakala pala, taisi e lua me loto kolapa. Ono kai mari e ia, loto pe moe atamai, no me kina asironi o mamani. Mai soa Besaione, Alukia Arelo Toni, ele uomona, ele tupulaki, kainoma asiete holi. Ele uomona, ele tupulaki, kainoma asiete holi. Mai soa Besaione, ele uomona, ele tupulaki, kainoma asiete holi. Mai soa
Welcome to our Pacific Islanders Communication broadcast. We're waiting for our Public Health Information Officer, Christina Predict from the Seattle and King County. She said she will be with us anytime soon, so please be patient, and I'm sure that maybe less than a minute she'll be able. She have some technical difficulties, but she'll be joining us very soon. Thank you. Hello, Pastor Noah, and also Amelia. Oh, there she's on.
Hi there, apologies.
Okay. Again, it's that time of the week with your favorite program from the Public Health Information Officer, Christina Predict, with the Public Health Seattle and the King County. And welcome to all our Pacific Islanders communication leaders. And welcome Pastor Noah and also Amelia from the islands of Fiji, from the Pikowa. And Pastor Noah is also with us. And before we continue on, I would like to just ask Pastor Noah, please can you say a little, lead us with a word of prayer? That's what we always do before we start.
Suiti, itaniti, ako eruva kate no for ofifili. Amusia pesi imagina, o kunehu hulu, manesi ofia, kafonga ofasi okupa faanga. Fakamo peke uake, o hau salu salu, na malo au, koi falang, okutai kau, teke koi, manaki au, ta amine.
Again, this is one of our favorite programs, every week, with the King County Public Health, Seattle and the King County. And welcome again, Christina Predict. She's the Public Health Information Officer from the Communication Department. And we're glad that you joined us today. And I'm glad that we also have Amelia from the PICOWA, the Pacific Islanders of Washington Association. So I would like to ask Gio to please lead us with some of the information in the news about Seattle having 70% vaccinated and King County being 70% vaccinated. What does this mean for reopening? Because there's a lot of information out there. Thank you, Christina.
Yeah, there is a lot of information out there, and we've had some really exciting news in the past week or so. First for Seattle and then for King County, and that is that 70% of people have received both vaccines. So it is great news, and it is in a large part thanks to community organizations and people who come to the show and getting out information into the community. So it's really fantastic news. And what that means is, so as of yesterday, 70% of people in King County have received both vaccines in the vaccine series. So that means on June 29th, they'll have full immunity to the COVID-19 virus, and the masking directive will be lifted in King County. So this is really great news for businesses, people who have been concerned about masks. And the reason we can lift the mask directive is just because we are getting increasing evidence that once people receive the vaccine, that they aren't catching COVID. 97% of COVID cases right now are among people who are unvaccinated. And it also provides really good protection against the variant. And for Washington State, when either June 30th or when 70% of the state is vaccinated, there's plans for the state to fully reopen. And there'll still be some precautions in places, but businesses will be open. They'll be able to operate at capacity, and it'll start to feel a lot more like normal.
Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Hi, Pastor Noah. Hi, Fatima. Glad to be here today. I can actually make it today. My one question, though, Christina, is the 70% with King County, that rate that causes the masking to be done with, like was it end of this month or July?
The end of this month, the 29th.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. Does that also include children that have been vaccinated with Pfizer, or is it adults?
So that includes, so the 70% is age 16 and older. So it doesn't account for that age range 12 to 16 who have also been vaccinated.
Oh, that's good news. So I just kind of heard it like through conversations and spaces that I've been in is there any news on vaccinating kids that are younger than 11 and 12?
So they are currently doing trials with Pfizer and Moderna. And yes, just to make sure they're safe and effective in the same way that adults are. And I believe right now trials are ongoing for ages 9 through 12. Okay. And then as children, the younger children become the more developmentally different. So for example, between a 14 and an 18-year-old, there's not a huge amount of difference developmentally. But as they go to younger children who have different systems and are at a different point developmentally, they'll continue to do tests and then release vaccine availability in increments to those groups.
Oh, cool. So just a quick question. With that being said, the age and the trials and all that, does opening schools all the way, how do you see that for younger kids that haven't received vaccination yet? Are we going by the staff being vaccinated, or are we going by both, the children and the staff?
Yeah, that is definitely not my area of expertise.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
The state level is doing a lot of policies around that, but I can definitely take your question and if schools are something a lot of people are interested in, we can invite somebody on who has a little more knowledge in that area, or I can also send Sylvia back a response.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. But that's a great question, and I know it's on a lot of people's minds. Yeah.
Definitely parents.
Yes, I think parents, especially as the economy in the state reopens and more people will be returning to work, and also just we know how essential that social interaction is to children and the learning and finding the balance there.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Stay tuned. You know, Amelia, we still have some question to ask. So I'll give this opportunity. Pastor Noah, thank you again for joining us. I know that you have a lot of the questions, you know, from your Nigerian community. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. I appreciate what you are doing to the community because that is what we need. Information is very, very important, and especially to the disadvantaged and minority, you know, like myself. There are, as a community leader, we are very close to the people who are feeling the pain of COVID-19 aftermath, and we are well also about the King County rental assistant. I was in the meeting, Zoom meeting, on several occasions. The flag off and all of that. How they started with the landlord and then now into the rentals.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I know when they were doing those communication stuff on Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
they encourage people like us to reach out to our community to let them know what is in the system, how they can benefit. But it's very disappointing to me that in my own primary community, I haven't been able to see any individual benefiting from the program. I don't know if the program is halted, or is it that some people or class of people are now benefiting, or what actually is going on? Because, I know based on what we were told last time that, things has taken off. It's now with not the time it was landlord, it's now tenant. But unfortunately, I can't even name one person who has actually benefited.
Thank you, Pastor Noah. I think that's a really good question and a really good point. And I will pass that along. From what I know, and I'm confirming on the website right now, applications are still open. And I believe how it will work is that once applications are submitted from tenants, then those will those will be gone through and assistance will be given. Next week, we're going to have somebody from the program return who's very familiar with the details. So I know where to sign up and know the details of who qualifies. But I think your question is really valid about when people in the community will start to see the benefits of this program tangibly. So yes, somebody will be on next week, but I can also take that question back and I can email Sylvia with the response.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's these programs are available and the programs are very needed. And I think a large part is executing them fully and getting them into the hands of people.
Okay, thank you. So can I ask another question?
Of course.
Okay, I know it's like this, that the one that I just asked is not in your area of specialization, because I learned that when you were talking about the COVID-19 and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's been in my heart, to, kind of do something with my church, with church members,
Yeah.
and my community on, uh, on COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And but my question is how to get resources, because what actually I want to do is to make it an educational something that has to have a global network whereby people could know what to do in the case of pandemics. I created a program. I'm a nonprofit 501c3, and then I created this program, but I'm still trying to see how best I can package it, because it has a lot to do with the services of the Ministry of Health informing the population of so how do I be able to package it to make the vision a reality?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And if you can put your email in, or if Sylvia can share your email, I can connect you directly with people. One thing I did is I put an email address in the chat box, communityvaccinationevents@kingcounty.gov. So if you'd like to set up a vaccination event or an event where people can come with the county, you can email that address, communityvaccinationevents@kingcounty.gov, and they will help you set that up. And if you're looking for resources, pardon me, there's a cat. If you're looking for resources, what language do you primarily communicate in? I know with the people in your nonprofit.
Yeah, our primary languages are we have multiple. We do we have Igbo dialect, we have Hausa and Yoruba. That's the primary ones in my local community, the Nigerian community.
Okay, let me look, because sometimes we have resource pages for we do not have either of those covered in resources, but there's a lot of yes, have Sylvia share the email, because we try to have language resources in multiple languages. And if there's a need, we can add a page, and that will have in-language resources on flyers that you can download, talking about vaccination, frequently asked questions, and they'll all be in one place for you. And then you'll be able to share them with the community and download what you need.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Christina. Yes, sorry for just jumping in. Yes, I will share all the information with you, Pastor Noah. And so that way you can have the contact. But that's a good thing to know, because you already have your 501c3. And I know you do a lot. And we have some other information to announce before the end, But in the meantime, I'd like to ask, if 70% of the people are vaccinated, does this mean that these people are protected from virus?
So with the vaccine, we are getting more and more data that protection is very high, even against variants. So the vaccine is very effective. What's important to remember about the average is that maybe some communities or geographic regions are 80 or 90% vaccinated, and there's other regions that are maybe 40 or 50% vaccinated. So I think it's really important to remember that there's still groups of people that are vulnerable, especially around people who don't have transportation access, who might not be able to get time off work to get the vaccine, who may not be able to access childcare, or who may have autoimmune issues that make the vaccine not effective or not safe for them. So with the vaccine, you are protected, but I think it's important to remember that 70% does not yet mean that everybody in the community is protected. So the best way to get protected is to get the vaccine. I feel I say that a lot, and only because it's so important, and we continue to have more and more evidence that the vaccine is the best protection. And then, and also there will be community spread, but as I mentioned before, what we mentioned are cases among the unvaccinated, and some people choose not to get the vaccine. Some people live within communities or in positions where it's more difficult to get the vaccine. So King County is trying to do a lot to reach people, from doing pop-up vaccination events to doing community-led vaccination events. I'm also going to put some things in. There's free rides if people cannot find transportation. If people have are not able to leave their home, they can call the COVID-19 helpline and schedule an in-home vaccination appointment, and translation is available. And there's also free childcare available during vaccination appointments, or if people are concerned about side effects and need some time to recuperate from the vaccine, there's childcare available. So I'm putting that in there. And that's, while having 70% vaccinated means the community is a whole lot safer than it is if it was not vaccinated. We still want to make sure that that reaches everybody. So we really, truly do have full protection.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask Amelia, I know you guys have a lot of questions because you're dealing on a daily basis with our Pacific Islanders community. Amelia?
Yes, Christina, I do. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
So I understand for like certain shots, like tetanus, like that is the boosters, like what, every 10 years or so. How does it look for this? The last I heard, it was under trial. The booster shots were under trial. Are you aware? Is there a timeline or something like that?
Yeah. So I think this is a topic that's one of, especially within the media, a favorite topic to speculate on. And the truth is, we don't yet know. And this is part of why the vaccine came so quickly. So the vaccine became available once it was known that it was safe and effective. But things such as how long is it effective? In a normal vaccine trial, we wouldn't distribute until we know that. But that is something where we're learning as we go. So the first vaccines were given in May of 2020. And it was about 70,000 people who received the vaccines during trials. And March 2020. So we know it's been over a year and they're still effective. A lot that will play into that as well is variants. So it could be multiple things that lead to needing boosters, whether it is the effectiveness of the original COVID-19 vaccine is limited, and then you need a booster to keep that immunity strong, or if there's variants, so those variants have mutated enough that the original antibodies are no longer able to recognize it effectively and fight against it. So then you'd have a booster to supplement that. So as of now, there's not any clear evidence saying every 1 year there'll need to be a booster, or this is when you'll need your next shot. A lot of people are talking about the fall. But there's also a lot of factors that go into that. And yes.
How about, I've heard this asked a few times, is pregnant women, when pregnant women receive the vaccine, does that mean that their unborn infant automatically receives the protection, or is it just something that just remains within the mother's immune system?
Yeah, this is I love this question. I so this is not something that's being systematically tested. So for example, every child that's born when the mother had the vaccine, antibodies are not being collected to uniformly say, yes, the vaccine antibodies do pass to infants. But there have been cases where the infants are tested and antibodies are found. So we know that it happens where the mother can pass her protection on to her child when the child's born, but that's not something that is a definitive yes yet.
Got it. I don't have any questions at the moment, but go ahead, Fatima.
Yeah, I'm just curious, when you are dealing with the community with the COVID-19 stress and all of that, people are very, anxious, worried, and, thinking of what I think what many are now. How do they package themselves so that they can move forward with their lives? In the midst of all this crisis, and then very soon the moratorium on the rental something will be lifted, and landlord will start evicting their tenants. That kind of thing. So, but my question is, how do we as community leaders, how do we how can we have the accessibility or also awareness of the resources in our county, so that the community where we now serve, because I think many people are suffering just because they don't even know that they have resources available that can help them out. So how can it be possible so that we can have knowledge of I know there are huge resources with all these lined up, availability, both in the federal and the state. But the thing is, how does it get to the grassroots?
Oh, okay. Christina, I just want to add on to that.
Yeah.
I think that the bottom line of the question that he's asking, if you can share some of the resources in King County that people can use if they need assistance.
Yes, and I just put them in the chat box. The link that has mental health resources, whether it's people, community resources where people can pick up the phone and talk to somebody immediately, as well as a director of counselors, and just information about mental health, myths and facts. I think as community leaders, it's really important to acknowledge that it's okay and that it's normal right now to feel anxious, to have stress, to be really worried, to even ways that this stress manifests itself that people sometimes feel guilty or bad about, such as maybe not getting as many things done as in a day as they would hope to, or forgetting silly things that they think they should always remember. It's often referred to as brain fog. And I think just acknowledging, I think one of the most important thing people can do is acknowledge that that's normal and that's actually a healthy response. And there's a lot of ways to cope with anxiety. And that includes talking to people. It includes making routines that kind of give you a sense of normal, making sure you're making connections in your community. And I would really encourage you to look at the link in the chat box and just find resources that are available. And it includes some numbers from the county. And and they can connect people with mental health services and help them find people in their area. And I think it is, we've been living for the past 15 months knowing that there is a disease out there that is not within our control. We don't have the control necessarily to protect our friends, to protect families, to protect communities. And a lot of people are also grieving, whether it's for a person that they lost, or a way of life that they were used to, or a job that they lost. There's just been a lot of changes. So I think as we reopen, there's going to be a lot of people that are anxious, whether they haven't received the vaccine yet, if there's fear of getting sick in another way from the variant, just social interactions that they may not have done in a long time. But county resources, please check out that link. And then I'm going to put in the chat box an email address that can give you further resources if you don't find what you need on that page. And that is chap@kingcounty.gov. And the CHAP line has community resources for King County. So it includes mental health, they can guide you there, but also health resources. If somebody is having trouble paying rent or accessing groceries, they can see if you apply for different benefits. If you need to find a low-cost medical provider, even unrelated to COVID-19, that line can help. So definitely visit the CHAP or send a note to that email, Pastor Noah, for information. And I'm also finding the website that I will put in the box, as well as the phone number.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. These are great questions.
Exactly. I think also I'd like to hear from you, Christina. What right now, when do you think that most likely that the King County or we have the lockdown, released, here in the King County, especially here in Washington State? If you heard of anything, and what are we expecting soon?
Yeah, so what we're looking at is very soon. So it either will be June 30th or when 70% of the state is fully vaccinated, whatever comes first. So within the next 2 weeks, you'll see lockdown measures ending and businesses reopening, and it could be sooner depending on how many people are vaccinated. And that'll be a huge step for our state.
Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you so much. And I know that maybe Amelia may have a question, like from the Picowa. And I know Brandon is joining with us, but he's driving, but he's listening. Amelia?
Yes, Christina, I do have a question about when things are lifted, right? I'm pretty sure people are going to be concerned about who's vaccinated and who's not, and when it comes to transportation or maybe like being in the movie theater with other people. Is there a plan in place for the peace of mind for those around you, that have been we've gotten used to wearing this mask thing, right? And we have somewhat made it, it's almost a norm now, because it's like, oh yeah, I got to put on my mask. Even I'm fully vaccinated, but still, it's kind of a habit. It's like your other thing that you do now. It's like, oh, something's missing if I'm not wearing my mask, right? So my question goes to for other people that would be kind of like me, oh yeah, we're out there, catching a flight somewhere. How does one feel kind of at peace that the person next to them is not wearing a mask?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. And I think you and I have a lot of similarities when it comes to being fully vaccinated, but the mask is a norm. And I think one thing to remember is just because you don't have to wear a mask places doesn't mean you can't wear a mask places. So I think we'll continue to see a lot of more people masking up. I know that CDC guidelines say outside vaccinated people are safe without a mask, but I know in our neighborhood walking, when it gets crowded near a park or there's a lot of people on the sidewalk, people still mask up because that's how everybody feels most comfortable. You have a great question about how do you feel at peace when you're maybe in a movie theater and you're wearing your mask, but the person next to you isn't wearing theirs? So I think one thing to remember is a lot of people are vaccinated now. So if you're vaccinated, it's very hard for you to contract COVID-19. And when people do catch COVID-19, a very, very small amount of people have caught COVID-19 when they are vaccinated, just because we know the vaccine is 97% effective, not 100% effective like a lot of medications. We are not seeing people get severely ill. So we're seeing people test positive and maybe some cold-like symptoms, but not the hospitalizations and not the deaths that are seen when when unvaccinated people contract COVID. So that's one piece of mind, is that you have fantastic protection with the vaccine, and we have increasing evidence that it's really, really good. Also, while the state is not, or King County is not going to ask for proof of vaccine, that doesn't mean that businesses can't ask for proof of vaccine. So that's something to be aware of. So, for example, there's a section at the Mariners games where you have to show proof of vaccine to be able to sit in that section. I know the Pike Place Market Foundation is doing an event that's only for people who are fully vaccinated. So those opportunities are there as well. And you're not comfortable being around people who may be unvaccinated and unmasked.
Just one quick question.
Yeah.
With that being said, do you think, or are you aware, I don't know, if it's something that's been covered in the county,
Yeah.
are businesses allowed to forcefully enforce or refuse service to people that do not want to show their vaccination cards, if it comes to that, like say a restaurant want you to have your vaccination card and there's families already in there and you're not vaccinated, so you can't show proof. And in the heat of the moment, people can get kind of rowdy when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
So would that you are aware of, would the city police or the sheriff or others, would they be able to intervene on stuff like that?
Yeah, so this is something that would be at the state level. So it would be, and Washington currently does not have any laws related to proof of COVID-19 vaccine, where you may have heard in the news that there's some states who are putting laws in place, such as businesses may not ask for proof of a COVID-19 vaccine. So that would be at the Washington state level, and there's currently not any information, but I sometimes talk about it as businesses have a lot of freedom to enforce different things, such as no shirt, no shoes, no service. In the same way, I can't walk around, I can't go to the mall barefoot and walk store to store without people commenting. It's within the realm of businesses to be the same with masks. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And, we're about to have our Tongan physician assistant, he's going to join us anytime right now. And if you guys have any other questions, he's going to just join and you can continue maybe asking some nutrients question. But Pastor Noah, do you have anything? Or Brendan?
No.
Thank you so much. I will provide all those referral information to you. Okay, here's King Langi is on. King Langi, can you hear us? Malo lele king langi.
He's connecting to the audio.
Oh, you're connecting to the audio right now, eh? Okay, ke mau whanongo atu, but we can see you on the image, but we have not heard your voice yet. Ke unmute ho telefoni, ke lava ke mau whanongo at ko leo. King
So
langi.
what?
When you're ready, you can come on the maukita etiki for hiva. When you will just play a little Pacific melody, just in the meantime, or we can play the toso.
And while he's connecting,
yes.
I'm going to put some information in the chat box
Yes.
about a program called Fresh Bucks. So I know he's going to talk a lot about nutrients and healthy eating. So this is a resource for people in King County and a website that they can visit to receive Fresh Bucks to buy produce, including at local farmers markets.
Thank you, Christina, for putting those up. And we do appreciate your time and also the resourceful information that you always provided to our Pacific Islanders community on a weekly basis. And so we're waiting for the physician assistant to talk about the healthy part, as we know that it's sometimes we consume a lot of unhealthy stuff, Go ahead, Dr. King Langi, we're waiting to unmute your phone or your laptop so you can join us. Malolele, Dr. King Langi, hello and welcome to our favorite program every week. It's talking about resourceful information, and also today too, it's like we talk about what's the importance of healthy stuff and how we can continue to live in a healthy life. And I know that part of it is our eating and the food that we eat every day. Malo lele king lang. If I maha ki tala no pero ha pick up out the mix pe English and Tonga and ko ngau. Ya pe ka mul pa na fanongo mai pe. Ko ha pe ha o fale I pe ko ha vahe. Ko ha me a oku mau inga ko e ki he tau tolu ko hange ko kau ailani ki he tau me a kai whaka aho pe ko ha me e tokoni ke tau mo ilele.
Ala bida Fatima whangamali ko ni kiu mai a wha ki tokoni ke kainga pia ko whehui ko hae mea kai lelei taha ke kainga tonga I Amerika he tai mini ko dau silau pikai ki mua kai peke hata toi mea fōuia ko tau mea kai whakatonga ko mea kai lereia ko whasi isi kai kakanoi manu kai whakalahilahi kai mao mea tokoni me he tau vegetable me fruits ka maa whoke ngai mea kai whakatonga ko talo kumala ufi ma ngai mea ko ia o ka pau ma uia pa ka pau I kai whaongai pateta urere o pitoia equivalent peia ke ngai mea kai tau ma pitonga ka ku ngai mea kai enu ku mahu inga pita ke tau mau mea tokoni mea ikono inga ko ngahi mahaki ko ni hanga whatupu ko mate rahi taha ka kai Amerikane he takai mini ko chronic diseases. Aia ko chronic diseases o ku aia ko suka toto maalunga mo arthritis, gout, obesity, au ke cancer, maki mafu. Ko ngahi chronic disease ko ia patupu he mea kai. Taim fo mafu ki na tau futokanga bit infectious disease, ange ko malaria, ko TB, ko ngahi mahaki pe. Ka kone tu e tai mini o kai ke ofi ngai mahaki ako ni na tamate tangatana to lua ke heart attack mo stroke, pa mo cancer, ala ke mo diabetes, mo obesity e tai mini. Ayo ko ngai mea utongi tau tokanga ke ha ngai mea lava ke tau tokoni ke whasi isi e ngai mahaki ko ni mea ki tau tohu ko tau ki fo equation na tau lau kei ki mua ko breakfast, exercise, diet, mo sleep. Aia ka fo i mea ia pesete walu mo fulu e tau mo i rei. Dipendi ha fo i mea ko ia e wha. Ko mea kai ko mau mea toko ni breakfast ko most important meal ia po ka kai unau mau mea toko ni breakfast ta naki mea ta mo fulu ke o mo ui. Aia ko mau mea toko ni a toko ro tonga ko aho. No exercise.
Ke whakarea tu mua King Langi. Ko inga ko o kia e toko ta Facebook kai mo e toko taha i he u matakali una loto. Ka ko e hanai he was talking about his physician assistant. He's talking about what's important for us, like that we consume, like healthy stuff, like from Mother Nature, and our breakfast and our lunch and our dinner, and we need to rest. So even Amelia or Pastor Noah, if you have any question, what to help to promote, the healthy part into about, especially the Pacific Islanders, we eat too much sometimes. Amelia, I know you worked, and this coming up Friday, you're gonna have the senior, and a big, huge lunch, for the senior. Amelia, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Jeannie. I do have a question. How I'm coming to a realization that a lot of our men, Pacifica men, have gout. Is there any and most of the time they don't know, there's no like early like something that they could adjust their diet early sooner, or is that something you recommend? And what are the kinds of food you would say that our young men should stay away from, just in case, to kind of not put them in the bracket of having gout in the future?
Okay. The most important thing that we need to know about gouty arthritis is the uric acid molecule, okay? The uric acid is never, you get it from 90% from meat products, okay? And when this meat are broken down into uric acid, these uric acid become crystals, and these crystals are sharp. And when they settle in the joints, the body sees that as a foreign body around the area. So what happened? Normally, the defense mechanism, the leukocytes are attracted to the area. When they move over to the inflamed area, they engulf these sharp crystals. These sharp crystals happen to be very sharp, and they break the cellular membrane of these leukocytes. And then these lysosomal enzymes that were meant to dissolve any foreign material or bacteria or viruses will be liberated into the joint, our own joints. So our own lysosomal enzymes eat up our own joints, and they become inflamed, very painful, and that is the actual cause of gouty arthritis. There are other variations, but basically that's what happened. If you don't eat meat, you won't have gout. If you eat a lot of meat, you'll have gout. Okay, it's very simple. So we need to watch our diet. Very, very important to make sure we stay away from meat sparingly, probably. And that's what the blue zones are eating, and that's why they're healthy. They live to be over 100 years old and still be kicking. Okay, the most healthiest people in America, we have our own blue zone in America, and that's in Loma Linda, California. Who lives there? Seventh-day Adventists. What happened to the Seventh-day Adventist diet? Well, they follow the word of wisdom that the Mormon faith started in 1833. So they started theirs in 1844, and then the Robert Koch coined the germ theory in 1855. So 11 years in between, right? So this is something important. What's true is going to be true today, and it's going to be true forever. Pertaining to human bodies. Human bodies are meant not to eat too much meat. America is eating too much meat. Unfortunately, this society is a capitalist society, and they are free to think about ways to make money. And unfortunately, some rich people, they make money at the expense of their own children and grandchildren dying off from heart attack and strokes. So it's just the way it is. So we just have to be wise enough to figure it out and do it differently for ourselves. What's most important here is basically, if we look at the blue zones, there are 5 blue zones in the world, right? You have Loma Linda, California, Sardinia, Italy, Icaria, Greece, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and then Loma Linda, California. Loma Linda, California is unique because that's the only blue zone in a continent, right? All the other ones are from small little islands, okay? So I want to emphasize the island style. The island style is the Tongan style and the Samoan style. You stay home, you eat together as a family, you do things together, you are interested in distant relatives, you get together for a family reunion. Those kind of things are life promoting, and people who do that, they live longer and happier lives. And this is why the American doctors document that the most important contributory factor to good health is good family support. All right. So this is something very important. It's not difficult to figure it out. If you want to just sit down and try to think about it, you love your parents and you love your grandparents. You break that bond between the grandparents and the grandkids, the grandparents die sooner. That's a fact, okay? So that is why it's important for us to learn more about how people live together and work together as a family. It's the most important contributory factor to good health, according to the American Medical Association. So when we hear that, that's not new to Polynesian way of life. You know, we know back home we stay together, we help each other, and families are very, very important. You know, distant families and getting together, you know, friends are very important. And this is how people will live longer when they practice these healthy living lifestyles, right? So this is why I think it's important for the Tongans. We talk in English, but I don't know. There's a lot of Tongans who, with social media is very, very, very easy now. You can get in and get any subject in the cell phone and then just study more about it. But I think what's most important here is to know that before we used to have infectious diseases like malaria, TB, tuberculosis, and smallpox. We have vaccination for those things. We need to spend more money curing those diseases. But, we need to just change our lifestyle so we can save money to spend on those diseases that, that's going to help humanity and help more people than the lifestyle that we choose to adopt in America.
Thank you, Dr. Kinglangi. Pastor Noah, do you have any thing to add on, or I'll just take this opportunity? What about the fish, because sometimes they said, like some people said, oh, I cannot eat salmon because The doctor said I cannot eat salmon because it has a lot of acid that make me have more gout, or it's not good for them, you know. Ange koe ma'o koe sa mani mo ngahi mea kai tahi ni. Can you talk about it? If it's because I seen one guy, he lived up to
We,
his 90s. He said he
yeah,
cannot eat anything that has two eyes, even the fish that have two eyes.
yeah.
Animals, yeah.
So, yeah, our people, we've talked about this before. And the reason why people develop this gouty arthritis is because of the proteins. And you have protein in fish, you have protein in chicken, you have protein in animal protein in shrimps, you have animal protein in beef and pork and goat and any animal meat. So these meat products has to be, taken sparingly, not every meal. Maybe twice a week is okay. But if you eat it every meal, that becomes detrimental to the health. Not only the gouty arthritis, but you have atherosclerosis and heart attacks and strokes and all of those things, even cancer, being promoted by these animal proteins. Okay, when you eat more than 5% of animal protein, this becomes a problem now. And we find it very, very often in our practice of medicine. Okay?
Thank you, Ginlangi. Pastor Noah, do you have any health-related question to ask?
Yeah, no, there's nothing to ask. I think he made some good, eye-opening, statements about health. My father lived 104 years, and one of the secrets of when he was alive, nutrition has a lot determinant to your, the number of days you'll be on planet Earth. So it's very important for us to be conscious of what we put into our system.
Right.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
My mother, who is now 92 years old,
Wow.
she is doing well. I think
92?
very selective in her food. So it's just the way it should go. And unfortunately, the system, like our speaker has said, the system is not conscious of it. They don't even want us to be healthy, because when you are healthy, the doctors are not getting anything, and then when you eat right, it means you're not going to go to the doctor. You're not going to be sick. So, but they are using the system. Some people who has, taking advantage of some of us who are vulnerable because of lack of knowledge. We just eat those things that will kill us instead of making us alive. It's unfortunate. It's and then the thing is, it's so addictive. The moment they catch you as a fish, it's almost that you cannot, you are trapped. But if you can break those all those addictions, which is not just drinking, you can be addicted to burger, to McDonald's and all of that, So, but it will help your heart and all your system.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. We stay away from eating meat every day. We become more healthier. Yeah, you eat meat every meal, you die sooner. That's that's basically the bottom line. All right. So in America, we eat too much meat in our diet, and just because we make it to about 70 to 80 years old, doesn't necessarily mean that that's healthy. Some people get there, but they're barely making it. So in order to be healthy, you need to stay more with the whole food plant base and less meat consumption, and that's basically what the whole area of medicine have seen in proper nutrition. Okay, so we have an equation that formulated as a BETS equation: breakfast, exercise, diet, and sleep. That's 80% of your good health, and 20% is some medication from your doctor. But then, when the chronic disease is when you eat proper food, then chronic disease will go away and you become more healthier and live longer. Okay, so that is basically what we see here, and I'm really interested in the island people who come here to America and change their lifestyle, change their diet, and become more unhealthy, and gain more weight, and die sooner, and contract diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, gouty arthritis, and heart disease, and even cancer. So that is what we need to know to be able to selectively prepare our food that is, healthy for the family, and raise our awareness on all those basic things, and we'll be healthier. So that's what I think we should focus on is our food. Other things will help, like exercise, but I think our food is most important. And we need to really watch that, and the healthy lifestyle and staying together as a family is very important too.
I agree. You nailed it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I know, Amelia, you may not have a question, but I know you do work with the community, and every other Friday you have the senior luncheon, that is provided at the senior. And I think, that maybe what are some of the healthy stuff, like he explained, not, reduce our meat, and breakfast is very important. And then also breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Kai pong pong I ho tai fiafi, da fu mau inga opito tau malolo tau mohe. So it's very important for us to have a lot of rest. What is a good time, that you could recommend that is best, for us to sleep instead of just like the Faikava people, they staying all night, up till like 4 o'clock in the morning, And does it affect, even if they come over and sleep during daytime, like the people that work graveyard shift, and things like that? What did you recommend, King Lani?
Yeah. Recommendation is go to bed early. Yeah, the earlier the better. Okay, between 8 and 10 p.m. Just go to bed, go to sleep, make your 8 hours of sleep. Some people have go for 7 and 6, but there are studies shown that this is not good for the health. When you cut down the sleep, you become more vulnerable to other diseases, psychological diseases, and all that. So my recommendation is to go to bed early.
Right.
Yeah, go to bed early and arise early. Go to bed at between 8 and 10, and then wake up at 6, and get ready to go to work. So this is basically what we say. If we want to spend time during sleep going to a kava party, you're just victimizing yourself, really. And that's not. I'll never recommend that. I've never recommended that kind of lifestyle, because it's gonna really bring him, help develop a lot of other chronic diseases because of not enough sleep.
Right.
So my recommendation is just go to bed early, stay together as a family, and do exercise, move all the time. Don't be working, if you work in an office and sit a lot of, spend sitting, sedentary job, that's a risk too. So when you go home, you need to move around and do things so that you can promote more exercise and more movement before you go to bed. So that's what I recommend. And I've talked to Tongan people, which I'm really interested in, I know the Tongan people who are listening to your program in other states, and I think this is open to the whole Tongan community. And I'm really interested in just telling them that it's important for them to go to sleep, and important for them to cut down the amount of meat that they eat, and it's important for them to stay together as a family and stay connected. Don't disconnect yourself from the family because you're dying. That's what's been proven time and time again. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. Just listening to you, I can hear what you are trying to say. Try to rest well, have enough rest. And that's what is important. Our people, it's more like culturally, and I know Amelia probably knows about it. The Tongan, the Fijian, and Samoan are drinking the kava root. And they made some vitamins out of the kava. Ngai vitamin me kava. I thought it's koi kava. Does it helps or it's have some effect, in the body? Can you talk about it or Thank you, Malo.
Yeah, maybe there's a little ingredient that's maybe helpful, but kava drink is I would never recommend that for anybody to drink constantly. I mean, you can do it once in a while with a Tongan or Polynesian gathering, like a family gathering or some, once in a while, but not too often.
Not too often.
Too often, yeah. Even a good thing can become detrimental if you overuse it. I mean, water. If you drink too much water, you become water intoxicated. All right.
I see.
So water is important, but then if you drink too much of it, it's no good. Yeah. So we just have to figure it out and make sure we don't get lost in the getting the real meaning of what we are doing, and just deprive ourselves from other benefits by just focusing on one little thing and forgetting the other things that are involved too. So things are multifactorial. So you have to figure it out. But we go back to our Tongan community, our Polynesian community, and the way they live. I think that's a good way to live. Just stay together. Be conscious of your family members and what they're doing, helping each other, and just giving each other support, social support. That's very important.
Malo Opito, King Langi, thank you so much for the great information that you shared. So, all good things, can be bad if you have it too much. Like the kava may be good, but if you consume it too much, if you drink it too much, it's gonna hurt your body in your system. Ai ko nei pe ha me a e fulahi tene mau I pe e hotosino, Ai a ko e me a ko ta pe ke te hanga o whakafuafua ai me a ko te ma o ko te sino. Ko me taha ko so I'm just asking. I know I asked that question before. Ka whalai whaki ko kau moa wia ko sa ia whanki ke ko e tau mea meri ko e whanki mea pe. Okay, pe sai pe ka pau e kai kene we sia to sino if you only have the cake like maybe once or twice a week, or just like try to eliminate all those,
Malabi te feu mawing abita ko ni. Ugoi mea mawing o ton ki hanga talahin ke ilu he kautonga. Utokanga abita ke mea ko suka. Ko suka ko mea whakatu tā maki au pito tai miti. Ko ngai suka ko whi mau ki ta whawa, ia a pere pe mo mori mo siaine ko mango ko ngai mea merie ko ia sai o pito pe ia. Ka ko mea ki he tau ngau ia ke ngahi inu ko ni sota mo ngahi juice mo mea ko no mai me whare koloa. Ton ke taofia holokia ki lalo. ka te tau mulele ang ki tau tolu. E kai ke tau nofo i he suka pa te tau mulele. Ko suka ia ku ne container whainga suka ko fructose, ai ko fructose ko ni ia matuaki ne matuaki whanuta maki, walo ki loto pa neanga ia o tānaki ngā kohe e a te pe mao e cirrhosis of the liver, Aia koe ne tū he taimini, to tonu ke tokanga, pite mātua tonga, ke nau mau me tokoni me mea melie. Ka poko mea melie me na tūla hange koe fo i mango, koe fo i tawa, koe fo i vi, koe lesi, koe ngai fo i a kau mori, ngai fo i a kau pehe upsai pe ia. Koe tau tope ke ngahi mea koe ni koe inu melie, mana tu ko Amerikani ko na tau tano ke ki mo ke capitalistic society, pa koe business society a Amerika. Pa unau whenga e kau sainisi ke na honga o formulate ha whahinga mea ke na hanga o ai e tangata ke na addict ke na products, pe na woma o pe ki na tolui a whatau, pa koe lahi koe na whatau ko lahi na wanga, pa koe lahi e mamahake kakai. Ka me pe uton pe ke tau ilo ke ai, i tau nofe whanua koe ni, whanua o Amerika, whanua tau a taina, e he taina tau pe, e lava ka pake ki tau tokanga te tau mahamahaki, kono inga koe ngai mea kai ko ia, o kuna honga whatau i snack bar, ko e wharekoloa, me ngahi sota, me ngai mea pehe, he? Ngahi inu me ria, me ngai mea kai pehe.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Amelia, I think he's talking about, we do that a lot, at the Pacific Islands communities of Washington, drinking soda, eating a lot of fatty stuff, but it's not about your weight and your size. It's about like what you put in, that can affect your system. Koe hange koe whamatala koe kinglangi, une pehe koe mea suka, koe mea mau lahi tahaya ko tau sino. So koe ko uhi ngā pēni koe i pusuka o te ai ke te mea kai, ka hange koe ngahi mahoa o ke ai moe keke moe ngahi mea pehe ngahi keke me whikolo kātoa u mea pehe o ku kawa moe askiri mpe koe ha peha mea meria koe pai ko ta o koe tau tolu he tau ngai mea whatonga tene kau peha no mau i tau sino koe ku whehu ia.
Koe mau mea tokoni me ngahi mea kai koe ni, whakasi ke si taha koe rei taha. Ka tau nofo i he ngahi mea kai hange pa lai lu, kumala mo talo mo ufi ma ngahi mea kai ko ia ka ngahi mea kai mina tula o ku whamu i lelei pa whasina mo i lelei ke sino pa te tau mui wholoa e. Lau nofo ngahi mea kai suka, alo tau pānia fu sisino, pea kai ke ngata ai ka koe al koe ki orunga koe tau pāni, pea lahi a koe hawa ngahi mahaki kehe ki o tau sino, pea koe wawi e tau malolo, pe tau mate.
Malo o pito kinglangi ko tui maha koe taha pene ngai whehui ku wha eke mau pe e he kainga tonga. O whewhe nei hange koe tau koe ngahi mea kai pe o pehe ka pau te ma o mea tokoni pe me ka kano i manu ka aku whakasisi. O ke sai pe sayang ha te matu aki whenga ke matu aki tuko o pito ka kano i manu.
Oia, whakawha wapito e whakau ia koe ia. Au mana tui, koe mone la e motua tangata iki tonga ni a koe ni whanau. Uro ki whenga e tau tū, pato ki whenga e tū. Koe tau whenga ke tau tau whipita ka kanui manu hoi ulawa tau whitu taha. Aia ko tonu pe ke tau whakafuafua pe. Ai pe ke whenga pe, te kai ke osio, te kai ke talata uia ke tuku au pita ka kanui manu, ka tau kai vegetarian ta pe. I kai, o kuinga pe a kuia ke holoki ki lalo, i ene sisi taha, ka hinga ka tau te mui wholoang pe tau mui lele iange. Koe ku pou ia. Kuinga koe taipi te tau aloi ka tau whaamiri whahenau ki ngahi mea kai, ko tau mau me to ko ni to nga ko it's a token of appreciation. Ye tau culture, eh? Pa ko tainu tau ala ke family ka na wai haki me kai le pe na wai haki poka tunu ai pa ta tolia ke tau feka ta to la me pe he. Kai ke sa ia ke hanga no fwa family. Kai ki me si pe kai ke pe ke tau whaka pe tau honga ia. Kai he time that tau pe o ai ke toto ma me tokoni he fonga ko ia he time ko to pe ko time fa tu ta maki ai. Mana tu pa pe ke tau formalisino. Yo ngai me kai ko ni alui heivi pakapale va kai ke tau formalisino e lahi angelewa ai ngako nofo tau ngai toto pe nofo ia horise ka lava fa tu pe atherosclerosis pe fa tu pe heart attack mo stroke ai ai ka tau sio ke ai o toton pe ke holoki pe toton ke gif kala lahi tau formalisino pa tau mana tu ke tau mohe ho avalu pe tau fiohi me family pa toton pe ke tau ki ngau e ma pe ko me ko na ulo ke blue zones ko na tau tano ke ai ko kakai wa pe kakai tau wal fu na ngau pe na to fa na ki me pa na lue mata he lue ki ngau fa na ai na ki te na ki ngau mata ya kau pe ko ki ngau vesta polo he kain ko to pe na ngau ko na time pe na tu ai na mohe pa na a pe fiohi pa ko me to ton fo ke tau mai noi ai mahu inga o fiohi ko no ke fiohi ki ka ta lotu o lot fa ta sa pate o fai ki lot fa family a ko ngai me pe he o kau le a pita ke mo le when I will go he whaka tukata te mini, go highly contributory a ngahi family support ko ni ke mo uilele a tangata mo uifoloa.
Ai koe wheo hi mo gatherings whanki mea wha family. Ai ko whai pe koe hange koe siasi. Siasa si suka isi unau hanga mau pe ko ai mo ni te ko nau ko siasi ko taimi o whai wha family. O mahu inga ai wheo hi ai family mo ka whanua ko fe nei ko ki tokotahe no text mai ko ne eke pe ia na pehe o ko au o ko ngahi o tama upe o taika o ku sai nai ma we me toko ni ko ne ai o ta ko nga ko kai o tai o kakano I ka pe o ku I kai ke fu sai ke tokoni ke tau sino pe ko ne mau I ho tau sino o we sia I kai o ta
Kai ke sai pe kai fasisi pe.
Sai pe
o tai a bulele a pite o tai kai ke kai a hapoto a pe. A kai ta pe ko ne ngo pe ko o ta ka ko meat pe mo ia. Ko tau pe ko meat sparingly. Ai ko tau me to ko ni me o ta ka tau me to ko ni fasisi pe. E kai ke ta. Ke dai ko e fulahi ai. Pe kai le ma ke a ngai ka ti tau tol ke tau mo foroa ka te ne whakatupu maha ka ti tau tol ko ne sai ki tau ma me toko pe tau tol me ai ka ua fu ai lahi tau pe ko tu ua e wike nga he ko tai me ko na tau whafofo ki ai e tau ki kai meat to ua wike ka ko lahi pe ma me toko me tau me kai to nga mo tau lai lu mo lai pere ko ka pisi ma te mata mo onioni mo ai ka mo mata mo tau mohe mo vai pe fo ka ke te ine pu vai valu he aho
koia ai aku mau inga mali o pito ngai whamatala koe ni ke tokoni paka pau ki aha mo whehui ko mo whetu taki mai pe ke telefoni koe ua na ono ni mataha fitu nima ni maua ua na ono ni mataha fitu nima ni maua o whamalo atu he ni King Langi ko ngā whamatala ao ngā koe ni o ko wahe mai ko ngā ko sio pe ke tokoni ki he tau whanonga whakaaho he ka pai ke mo ilelei ho tau sino ko whai ngā ta a pe a whakamamahi lewa e te nofo I he mo ui whelanga ki he ako tope pe a o ko tui ko ngahi whare I koe ni o mai koe ni Dr. King Langi ko tokoni lahia ka ke tau tolu pe a ku toton ke tau ma upe ngai mea tokoni mo te whakapoto ange ko inga ko ngai mea pe kono tau wha awe ki lot ko tau sino ko ia pe e tokoni pe ko ia pe te tau toi whakoutuai. Ko ia e Dr. Kinglangi ko pehe peke o atu wha osmai ki mo minute ko ni. Ko inga ke te koe ko hanai hao vahe ka mea ke pehe ko taha ngai mea mahu inga to help and promote a better health and also to live a healthy life. Ko hanai ngā hao wharei. Neongo pe ko os eka to ngahi wheui ka koe toi hanai hao wharei ki a mea ke matu aki to koni. Tau te whita ka tau tolu koni tō ngā tau whanonga tu. Malo.
Ai a koe malawi te whehu mauinga koe ni. Ko tau talano ke ngai mea lahi. Ka koe te talatu koe pesepe walungo fulu ngai mea koe te tau mo ule lei ai. Koe tau whonga mau me toko ni. Ai e tau pepe koe diet. Koe tau whonga mau me toko ni koe whonga tonu e me whonga lelei tau tongi e tau toka ngai. E ngai whae o kotoa pe ngai whamiri. O so pingi mai, o mai ngai mea o ku whamu lelei. Whaisisi e whakatau mai kakanoi manu. Ai stay keep e mo e ngai mea kai ko ia pua kamo mea o whaoi freezer. Whaisisi a pito ia kai whalailahi mai e ngahi vegetable mo ai fruits. Ke o mai ke pagulahi mo ngahi whangaki dish e lava ke whakao ngai. I e tau mau mea tokoni e tau mea kaitonga. I Amerikani pe. Lahe pite talo me kumala mo ufi makai mea pehe. Kaurerea pito ke tau mau mea tokoni. Papau pete tau mau mea tokoni maki laise sari pe. I he taimu kai ke asimaha mea kai whakatonga. Mau me pate tau ke sai pe moia. Ka ko winga ke mo focus i he ngai whae. I o mo whenga, ke mo plant-based, whole food plant-based, ke mo whenga ke lahi mai. E taim koe te koe te ki whanau, ke mau mea tokoni me he fruits mo vegetables, me mo e ngahi mea kai ko ni he nau ke iki, te nau atope na tole mea te tau he nau fulahi, pe te nau mo ule leia. Ai a ko ke ai, koe whae ko toa pe, I he whaamiri ka toka tāia ke whaamiri ko ia. Paka ngahi whonga kuki ko e whae ko ia. Tēnā ngā whamui wholoa no hoa, ka kai ke ngata pe ai ko nana ki whanau. Aia ko ka pau e pote whae, alu ki wharekoloa, whaasisi e o mai e pulu mo e pua kamu e moa mo I ka, o mai ke lahi vegetable mo e fruits, pe ako e cell phone, ke ai e whangaki disko ia e vegetable soup, mo ngahi whangaki mea ko ia mea kai pehe ko inga ke whakamui le lei ke sino. Lava le lei apito pe ngai whae mea koe ni, pako mea utau pe ai I he ngahi whatongia koe o whae, ko pehe koe whatongia mahu inga tahe whae ke toka ngai, ai mau mea tokoni a wha miri ke muu le lei, ka nau mui whoroa, pai kai ke lahe puke, pai kai ke lahe nofo ia pe ngā ue, koe ngā koe puke, ka lahe nau ngā ue whakataha, pe ai e mau mea tokoni ke whakataimi, pe nau mau mea tokoni whakataha, pe nau whepoa talano aki, pe nau whewahe aki, I he ki whamiri, kau ia ke ngai mea maho inga, I he mo ui wholoa, pe mo ui lele I Amerikani. Ko pehe koe focus ia, e tau pōkalama, e tau hanga mama whai, e mahu inga o e whae, ko toke tā ia ke whamiri api. Pa tēne hanga o whotutua ngahi mea kai lelei, ko inga ke mo ulelea ai hoa, mo ulelea I mo e whanau. Pa te mo I wholoa whoki. Pa te sisi anga puke, si palahi anga e oko e whanau ngā ue taim tatonu mo ngai. Kau ai peki he Hispaniti. Kai ke? Ko anga kau ia ke e tau nofu katonga e whonuani. Ka pade tau tokanga whepopo aki pe he. E lahi anga tupulaki pe mo uilelei ho tau kakai he whonuani. o ka pau te tau whai whonga ko ia. Pai o biki tonga ka pau te nau whai mea te tau. O tui ko e mea te tau pe hoko. Ia nau mulelei whawhamiri e alu ke olunga. Pena tu e whiwhia ange. Whakalaka ange nau nofu whawhamiri.
Malo o pito kinglangi ko e ki mowe wha osi ko ki I wakai tupe. O ko amanaki ke whakahoko e mau hangea mau ki training o whakahoko I siulai ahawa wamo e ahawa tolu. Aia koe tau moa koe mental health support. Pea koe mental health first aid e tokone whai a kokono mau ai pehe I he Zoom. O ko ke pehe nei koe hange peha nau pehe koe ngai mea aini ke whahatoko ni ki he hango ki nau tō nau ngai whaitoko na tapu ke whakasisi I pea whenga I ke whakahauwhi ki nau tōl koia ku uesia ho nau atamai ko pane aha ngai mea. Pea toko ni pe ke whakawhiawhia ai tokotaha koe a takai hange ko lea ane nai. Ai wheo hi koe ai whamiri mahu inga koe taktahalanga hake. Pea moe ngai mea pe koe hange pe koe matu aki toko ni pe ai ngahi pot ngawe koe ne mau county ke whai pe ahono whai pe no toko ni ai kakai o ku tako ku depressia pe koe loto mamahi pe hangai mea I api pe koe hangai mea uwesia nau atamai ku koe hanai hao whakakaukau pu hao ki I wahe ke pehe nai o whe mao ke mau inga ini ki ho tau kai ngā tonga pe koe hanai hao ki whare I pe koe hao tokoni mai. Malo.
Ia. O tui ko e hange ko mea koe no ke whai whātima. Koe mea lele ia koe whingai ke koneke e kakai si a ki kai ngā tonga he whaitu koe na. E mō whepopo aki mō whiongo ngoi ngai mea koe ni. Ngai mea lele ia. Koe mea koe ni ke hange koe palparema ke alcoholism pa mō ngahi drug addiction ngai mea koe koe palparema ke he ia. Ka koutu koe palparema koe ia ke loto e toko taha koe aku ne hoko gea palparema ne loto ke ririu ia I loto ia te ia pe. Pe I te whiri koe ke whai mea koe ia. Si rewa ngahi whie mau me ngai tawhake ke he. Koe mea ke social support ina tau si talanope tato ke ai koe. No whakataha whamiri whe pōpua ke whamiri neongo pe kua ataha wano ngahi vai lawa pe ke ngāo whakataha ki whamiri koe ia. Paska patu ki tokoni mai pe ngahi tokoni koe me tua. Ka koe mahu inga taha ko ki whamiri loto. Ngo mātua mo ki whanau. Wabau kua whangakasini unau whe pōpua ke ngai tapako ia. E kaure reia ke he whakatupulaki me whakalakalaka tuka taha ko ia hange ka pagwaha tuka taha ku mo uhano sino e kai mamak. Mati ko e taimi kou na alu koe ke addiction o kua lewa ngai po kalamai pure anga ki ai. Kai ke tau lawa tato te duplicate mea ko ia. Tuke pure anga ke na hoa na to ko meu tau lawa ko whai pe tau whingai ke tau social support pe family support ko I api pa mo e tau community ke lawa ke whiohi pia whepopo ake ngai tawako ia ke whakalakalaka mo ui ke o lunga. Ka koe toko taha koku haana koe palapare ma. O kutotonu ke committee pa kutotonu ke whamaato ato ne whenga ke ririu. O kai ke whenga ke ririu pehe ki taimno no ka te hoko atu. Pia koe ngai po kalama koe no kumahi pire ngā ka ngai po kalama ia tokoni. O mai ka kai una wako ke ai he drug addiction pa moe social work. E na o maa whaangai huna ngai tari ni ti ke whai ngai whatongia koe ka kia ka koe pure ngai ia lawa ke tokoni ngai te whako ia. Ringa pe tau tole tau po kalama koe ni. E haa e tau mea whai I api, mo tau ki whaamiri, e lawa ke pou ai, e tau mo ui lelei, pe mo ui whaamiri, whiongongoi, pe mo ui wholoa. Pe tau nofu e tau ngahi lotu, o tau ngahi pokalama ko ia. I he neongo pe u tau e whanua muri, a ka pati ta whai me ta tau ta whai koa tau ki motu, Tala peke tau benefit me ai.
Ia.
Okay?
Ka taha
Rangai e
koe
pōpō ke
ki langi
whapako ia.
ko taimi. Ko tō taha ni koe ki text mai pe. O tala mai ko au ko tau lahi ko tau ene e wanoa ai ko mawau he toto maalunga. Ko hanai ha o ki ai ha me a kai whakanatula pe e kai ke pēnei ko sio ko e follow for a kau nau pe he ko e sia ki taia ho e to e hoto sino he follow for a kau pe ko e ku whenga ke o kai pe ai ko hana ngai me a tokoni e tokoni ki hoku toto maalunga. Ko mā ko whehu ia.
Ia. Ngai mea kai ta tau pina tau tānoa kai whati mo kai ko tā koe nā ka pau pāno pau parema ke ni i he toto maalunga tu tong ke sio rewa ke tue tā ka pau fu maalunga e toto ia koe nā lava peke stroke here within a few days or a few weeks. Ka koe mea mahui ngā ke alu ke ne toke tā ka pau ui Amerikani alu ke ne toke tā tu ke ne toke tā ke nanga sort out i pe whai mono lab test pe whai lewa mu ngahi bobo koe tau pokalama koe ni koe e tau pokalama retio o koe ke tau teke tau responsibility medical practitioner mo tau tuke tā o kua nau tolu e kau patients o ku nau whanongo he tau pokalama tu tonu kai ke tau na tolu ia undermine ha mea taha ukanga he tuke tā o recommend ke avi ke ne patient. Aia ko ngai mea ko tokanga ki ai. Talama i toto maalunga, kai ke loko toto maalunga ai, kamata bei he te au anoa wahi wanoa, o rei ko lunga ke te au ni manoa au ua nge au. Kau kai ke loko hae tuunga ko kuihana toto maalunga. Ko whitu pe tene ilo ai, alu ke ne toke tā. Pe askoa po ke short out ke toke tā, po wate whi a kau, ton ke follow whi a kau, pa te whoke toke tā, e mai heu wike ua, pe koe mahina take ne toi sivi, e koe ke hatu ke tae une ilo, e mea ko toa pe.
Koia.
Mahino, koe pe koe tiwe au wha ngai, ka koe taim da tau pe, upau ke whahe pe sini ano whatongia, ke ne hanga take no blood pressure i api, mana tu ke blood pressure koe i api, o ku more accurate ia ngai, i he blood pressure koe i he office. Ko mea koe unaka pou, i ai koe ke hanga pikita whae te take the blood pressure i api. Ma mwanga whakangai ki fo i a whangaki blood pressure cuff with Omron, O-M-E-R-O-N, o mai am he pharmacy, whainga pharmacy pe o mai, whakaanga i re vai a koe whangi mea ai pe he wrist, lava ke whakaanga ia, pe whakaanga i regular blood pressure cuff koe koe i he huma, e lava ke te hanga pe kita o check to blood pressure pe ota. Mahalo koe mea rei taha ke tō taha koe na, ke alu ke ne toke tā. He kei ki whima o prescription au ia ke alu o maha o Omron blood pressure cuff, te? Mea koe ati talbia ta ke he pharmacy, tō tongi tola mau tola whitu mo fulu, nima ngā fulu ke whitu mo fulu, pe o mai bia pa te whakaonga i tai api. Pange ke tau bukalampe ni, alama ke whehu i pe whehu totu maalunga i tai koe ia. Ka koe toto maalunga o recommend mo oko mo ngahi kautuke tā, pia whai mea ngahi tūtuuni mo ngahi o mai mo ngahi fui a kau, pia ke follow fui a kau ko ia, pia asko apa ke te whoki ai, tu ngā ki nenga o adjust te fui a kau ka bau fui a mau, pia ku te tānaki mo fui a kau ke. Ka kai ko ke he, teu ka,
Malo ko kinglangi ko i whehu i penia aku ke whakaosi aki. Ko e hange ko taimi e mao mea toko ni. Ke pewha ke mahu inga e tau break ke fast ai ko tau kai pongpongi ia hoa tā mo e fiafi. Pea ko ilo pe koe whaamatala ki ai. O ke pēnei o koe hā taimi o koe pehe o ke te ke hanga wharei. Koe taimia ke whakaosia e te kai i he fiafi ke ona toi laka ai ko toi whenga pe ke tāaf mo ki whamiri mau kai pouri. Ko ia pe.
Io ka pau ko pe ka pai ua to in general, ua to laka he ono ke fitu e fiafi ai mau mea toko ni. A ka pau toki mau mea tokoni e he walu ke sai pe ia. E mana tue ko totonu pe ke whawave vave. Ue ngā ka whai ha teu ke he mohe fiafia. Aia ko pehe ko tau pehe pe ko hae ni ma ke fitu. Ko foi hou au au totonu ke whai ha mau mea tokoni e fiafi. Ko mau mea tokoni mahu inga taha ia ko pongpongi. Breakfast mau me toko ni papau de misi ha hoa kai lapa pigit ke misi e fiafi ka koe pong ai mo ki mea kai hoa tā o ku lelei au pitoia so e fiafi ka big ai de ki me kai whaka ua fu nofo fuoloa e toki mau me toko ni e fiafi kupo uri o se walu toki mau me toko ni e fiafi o kai ke whaasai ia Lele yang pe ke mak me tokon ki mu ai. Te ha to fehui e Fatima mahako ka feu ma ta taimi. Ko malo bi to ko ngahi fehui ko ni mo ngahi po kalama ko ni fa ho mo le tio pe te tau Whenga ke keep up o mo taimi tatau i he wike ua hoko mai. Au mo whe mau ke tau kamata he tō kuata ke he whitu, tō kuata ke he walu. Ai ko whitu whāni. A mautolu.
Whamalo lahi atu heni. Dr. King Langi malo o pito hotuk taimi ka ke kauwhatamo ki mautolu. E ahone mahu inga au pito ho ngahi wahe ko eni ki he mo uilelei fasisi e kai kakano, fasisi e kai mea suka neonga pe ko e kai ki tai te konga maa ka aku moe pai pe ko ha keke pe ko ngai mea ko ia ka ko ngai mea ko ia lahi pe aku ai pe suka lahi ai pe atene toi we si ai pe ia pe mau i hotosino pe ko tu ko ngai fale i ko ni o futokoni au pito Pea ko ne pehe pe foki o ku e whakaholoholo pe te kai kakano i manu. Ka ko uhinga foki ko kakano i manu une wesia lahi au pito. Aia ko ngahi acid ko i kakano i manu o ku ne mau o tausino. Hange ko e pehe ko inukawa tonga. Neongo ko e o ku nau ngahi pe mo vitamini me he kawa. Ka ko ne fu lahi pe ana inukawa une toi mau i pe ho tausino. Pea o ko whamalo atu. Ko e hana ha mea ka pau e talangi ki a tōta ko whaka osi a pēni. Ka pau te ke kai he po uli ko pake ospera pake alo mohe. Ko e hanai ha ne ue sia hoto sino. Pe o ku te ngoi pe o ku kai ke sai pe o ku whakatupu ai pe ai sino ki a ki tapa mo e hafua. Ko e maha ko e whaka osi a ki pe ia o e ahoni.
E ko whehui e ku e taimi ko e kai, na tau tala noa kia ne nai ko waha e ni maa ke whitu, ko e taimi lere e mau mea toko ni e fiafi. O atu e laka e whitu. Pinga peki ai. Pe ko e taimi ko ulaka ko he whitu, e kai ke sa ia ke hanga o e regulate ko e blood sugar ko e si, no? E ko ne au ko ke taimi e fiafi, pe mau mea tokoni fu lahi au pito. E kai ke sa ia, to tompe ke mau mea tokoni ki early young i he ose walu, ai ke waha pe ni maa ke he fitu hangena tau tāno ke anai. Ko taimi a ko recommend ai, e mau mea tokoni e fiafi ai e family.
Malo.
Ke pe kwa ngai family ni tari ke tangata ki to ki ha uia ko ki e fiange ka ko recommendation pe ki he anga tau he mo lelei ka mo mana tu ko mo lelei ha ka ke ma uia fe me pe taha ko whaka to lifestyle ata mo fo ma te ma o me to koni fo ma te fiohi me family mo te Fōnga te malolo taimi toton, mo te mohe taimi toton, ngahi mea mahu inga ka atoa ia, nau tānaki, ke mo ule rei whakatoa, o sino.
Malo apito King Langi, ai tuku taimi ka ke kau mai o Whai ngai vai koni pono te whamanatu mai ke tau kai ngā pia mo e tahako tau pe, ai mahu inga ko e tau mau mea tokoni, mahu inga ke mālo lo e sino, pia o mahu inga au pito ke whaosi pe te mau mea tokoni, he taimi whitu e whiawhi, pia o whe mau pe ke tau tokanga pe ko tau sino ko ngai mea ko tau pe tau hanga whao ki loto ko ngai mea pia o kune toi wesi ai ki tau tolu. A wha malo atu heni ai te tau toi ka whatapen mo takta kinglangi i he wike ki tu a, ai a koe aho ni koe aho, ai koe aho tolu noa ia o sune, ai a koe aho wha o sia te tau toi ka whataha e pia mo kinglangi. Wha malo lahi heni, malo a pito tokoni, mo e vahe wha ofa ke tokoni ko tau kainga tonga. Malo a pito. Thank you so much, kinglangi.
Malo bito. Ofat.
Malo, ofat.
Yo.
Pate pene tau ki whasko e ni, ko e tau toso mai ai pe. Pea whamanato atu ai pe, ka ki mō tolu. O ake moa ko e kai ki mental health first training. O whakahoko si lai aho o wang, si lai aho a tolu. Taimi hi wā pongpong ke taimi wā. Sela ka pai lava ki. Malo, koia. Pea mo whetu utaki mai pe, ko i ngā ke lava o le sisita mo i ngoa pe e lava mai te avi tokoni. O koe ko ui ngā ina toko te hepe ka taha o kuwesia. Ko ui ngā ne ma oi te ngai whangino ina pe e tokoni lang tia koe, pea moho whamiri pe ka taha pe. Malo au pito, ko e whika telefoni, ko e wanoa ono, tau noa nima ka luo oa. Ate pe tau ki pasko ni, pa tau hoka pe si pe tau taimi. tawa o mai ni ki he wha o singa ko ia tau polokalama wha malo lahi e ni ia ki mo tolu ko tape mo kau mai. Pea ko kolenga mo a kia sela ke ne tuka tu mo a vahe atu ai me a koe ni me he Fiji Market. Pea mo e liko shio ke whaka osi aki. Ai ko liko shio. Tai mi pea ke o ngo i puputu aha o whakaukau. Pea ke o ngo i whaingata ia no wha mana i koe tukua ki i kovi koe. Ha o ka ma o koe he polisi o hatu ha o tikite. Pe o ku iai ha o ki businessi. O ku i kai ke totongi a tuha mo tā o moho o fie mau. Ko ha pe hangai mea o ku i kai ke fie maria ki ai. To o mawhasia mea te koe. O ha o ki he mea ngai mea whaka immigration ni ke tokoni. Ko whetu tak whanga tona ke pe koe. Ki e liko shio. Ki paanga pe wa nima i he mahina. Ka ke nonga kua e kautalo ea. Pea koe ke ngatai, o kua usi o tonu he ni he nau ngahi tokoni. Ki he toko taha, ke mau mai a ene ngahi whaifika ko iana e huma e ki Amerikani. Toko taha, ko ene ngahi o tutiki te, ke kai ke whenga ko to e laiseni. O nau tā ia tepe kautaha loia koe niu nau wawa hoa ua wha, nau whitu utaki mai lewa. I he wawe taha. Koe whitu utaki a pe koe ki a Michael Haloti Puloka. Ki telefoni koe wanoa ono, nima noa wha hiwa whit nima taha. Ko Michael Haloti Puloka o ki kai ko haloia. Ka koe whakafofonga ia o i kautaha, koe ne mea pe whai, koe toko ni i koe, koe ngā ke resita koe. Ke mau hau whai ngā maari ke ngawe aki ai kautaha loia koe ni, pea ke nofo nonga i he taimi. Hono kotoa, hoa i wawha, ahoi fitu o e aho. I kai ke ngā tai, o whakawhi mai he Fiji Market, o nā mau e ngai fresh fruit cake. Lo tonga lele e taimini, ko alo ke pe koe ke Fiji Market, pe koe Fiji Bonanza, tu koe he Military Road, koe ke sola pe ki ai hataha, ko alo ke pe koe ki ai, ka nau toko ni i koe. Aia koe Fiji Market ia, ko ia o tu i he Military Road, o nā whakawhi mai ke me ange o mau hao fruit cake ko e ifo pe amio pe kai ke toi ongo sia hono whakaukau ke ta o hao fruit cake pe o ki ai foki mo ngahi klasi ke o e ke pe a toi tau mai na fu taika pe i kai ke ngatai pe a pe he foki ki he mei hao hanga tonu ko ia pe a mei he pulavina ka mei fisi me he Blue Lagoon ko ia ai oa na ke tō heni pa ke toki whaka isa me a ke lewa i he ahoni o mao me ai ngai mea koto pe o ko ke loto ke whatau atu. Ko iai ko maua o mai ni ke whaasinga i polokala mau te whamanata atu ai pe ai whakaafe pe me Hawaiian store tu uia i he hala tawhani ma ko ia i Seattle, Washington. O ko nau pe whoki ko hape ha o whakakahoa lei pe ko hape ha o mea whe mao me ngahi kaloni kakala ko ia o lolo tongani. O lava pe ia ke mau ia me iai. I mo talo koe mo whe mau koe ha mo whanki fo i lolo koe ia nā muka kala atu pe toi alaha. Kua whe mai ki mo tolu e he lolo ala pasita e koe o na e ko lo Stella Brown. To kon lahi au pito o mai ngahi lolo tu whaholo ki kainga community. Ange ko ki nau tolu koe na whaakau he kalama. Te tūtake hanga tona te koe ki a lo Stella Brown. Koe ona ia o lolo ala pasita. Koe fitu ono noa. Ua ono taha. Hiva nima tolu ono. Fitu ono noa. Ua ono taha. Hiva nima tolu ono. Kau te whe ma o lolo kakalai te au. I heni te i Seattle, Washington. O kai te tare kita lolo kakalai te au. Tutu take hanga tona te koe kia laha tuhua kau. Whamaloa tu heni ki takota pena mo kau mai. O whalahi atu o live lavulo malo o pito si kau mai o live Afra Osta lesina malo o pito lesina hefa e kau mai ke tau polo kalama pe fo ke aluma pe aki malo o pito si afe mai malo o pito la tu o kau ano siate ta polo kalama pe fo ke asmate ki pulotu pe fo ki kia ako kia taresita hawhano malo au pito pe foki ki he hoa pisa pe malo lo ya sesi en roi takataka malo au pito ya fe mai ke tapo kalama ko ya oni pa malo ten ke ki moto koto mo kata ki pe ai kai ke mau o mo ngwa. Thank you everyone, especially the the officer from the King County, thank you, Christina Predict. She's a public health information officer, and she's always here on a weekly basis to share great information with our community. And also Amelia from the Pikawa Pacific Islands of Washington Association. Pastor Noah, thank you so much. And also Brendan, thank you all. We do appreciate, your participation at our program tonight. Thank you all. Pamalo hinike mau engineer, our top engineer of the day, Sela Tuposis Palaterilo. Thank you for all your hard work and your commitment. Golly,